Well, this is my TEAC X-3R. This is actually my third reel-to-reel player because I have a problem. I love analog, old school sort of equipment. Anything that has to do with cassette tapes, for example, or reel-to-reel, CDs. I actually have a 8-track tape player downstairs that I'm refurbishing and putting back together to get that working again. It's just neat being able to play with these formats that I used to play with when I was a kid. And if I pan up here, you can see that there's vinyl on the walls as well as down below on the ground. Wanted to give you a quick overview of my reel player. We will have a deep dive into all the nuances here and what I had to do to refurbish it. Basically, TEAC had for decades, well, probably decades, probably from the 60s, definitely through the 70s, made reel players. Now, just to give you back a little background, before there was digital music, before there was streaming, before there were CDs, before there were cassette tapes, before there were cassettes, or actually, that's before there were cassette tapes, the only way that you can reproduce music at home was either play a record, vinyl record, wait until the music came on live on the radio or on TV, or you had this quarter-inch reel-to-reel player or something similar. I actually have a TEAC 1040, which is my father's downstairs, that I think I need to recap it, because when I play it, you can tell it's not quite as crisp. It's not quite there, and when you record it, the highs are definitely gone. So I think the capacitors are certainly going on that. I mean, that tape player was from when he was in Vietnam, so that was got to be early 70s, late 60s. I mean, it runs, the motors are great. I had to replace a few things to free up and re-grease a few things to get it working, but that's a project for another day. That's a video for another day also. But I wanted to go through this. This is a 1980s era TEAC, and the reason why I know that too is because the nomenclature. It's an X3R. I think originally they were like X300R, was when they were first released in the early 80s, and this is the late 80s, I would think, the last gasp of reel-to-reel players. Certainly the last try or attempt of reel-to-reel from TEAC. And you should be able to see this thing reverse, because the R in the name, it has a reversing function. And it's actually pretty neat. There's two different ways it can reverse. One is if it detects a little foil mark or a little foil piece of tape on the tape, it'll cross over here and kind of short out these two posts right here, and it'll stop it and reverse it. It's kind of like the first signal. And then at the end of this tape, I actually have a little foil tape, and you can buy them. Then it just tapes right on one side of the actual reel, of the actual tape itself. Now, you could put another one on the beginning of the tape, but you just got to be careful that it doesn't hit that, otherwise it will never play because it'll stop it and try to reverse it. But there's another way, which is this button right here, which tells the counter. Well, the counter will go from 0, well, if you reset it when you first start playing it, from 0 all the way up to whatever number, let's say 900, right? I'm just making that up, but it goes up, it'll go up to a 900, hit that foil tape and reverse, and it'll start counting down from 900 all the way back down to 0. When it goes to 0, and that light and that button's pressed and that light is on, it will stop and go back again until it hits the foil. So every time it hits 0, it will stop and reverse when I hit that button right there for the auto reverse. What is it? What's the name of it? Yeah, auto repeat is what it's called. So that was pretty novel. Only the newer ones had that. Otherwise, you had to put foil on both ends of the tape. This one is a little bit special also because it can play what they call EE tapes. So EE tapes are kind of the equivalent, if you're familiar with Type 2 chrome tapes for basically micro cassettes. Well, no, I'm sorry, these are mini cassettes. They would be the equivalent of chrome cassettes, right? And these players had great fidelity. I have it set to the highest speed, which is 7 inches a second. Well, you could tell this tape is moving across those heads at a pretty good clip. Literally, probably, I think it's 2 or 3 times as fast as these tapes. And plus, these tapes are much thinner also. So you get the same amount of fidelity, right? Data, let's just call it data, right? Analog data on a tape that is twice as wide and moving at least twice as fast across the head. So your fidelity is going to be so much better, which is a big reason why you didn't need Dolby noise reduction, because the noise floor, especially when you're moving at the full speed that you're seeing it now, is pretty low. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to you really have to listen for noise in order to really hear it. Whereas these, I mean, you could hear the noise on these tapes pretty easily, which is why you had Dolby B, Dolby C, and Dolby S noise reduction. If I wanted to see if it can auto reverse, we'll give it a second. Let's see while I'm talking if it does it, and you'll see it go across. If not, I can make it auto reverse just by hitting that button, and then that light will change to the other direction, the arrow. I think it should, because I noticed if you look at the VU meters, they're not running because I probably stopped the recording at that point, just waiting at the end of the song, just waiting for the end of the tape. Here's the speeds selection. So this will take you from 7 inches to 3.5 inches per second. So if you wanted to record something that was maybe spoken word, and there you go. So hit that foil. The foil hit that roller there across those two, the little roller and the bigger roller, and then instantly triggered the reverse function. So going back, there's an EQ and bias functions here for tape select. I really just leave those out basically. You have a record mute, which is pretty neat. Like if you're recording, like let's say off the radio, for example, you could push that in, and I'll mute the recording while this is going, and then hit that back. You have the pause function. The pause function. I push the button all the way, and then without disengaging anything. It's a really fast way to really kick it back into play, or to play record. What do we got here? Oh, you can switch between if you want to hear. Since this is 3 heads, it's got a record head and 2 play heads. And the reason why you want that, in fact, on most tape players, you want to have 3, especially if you're doing any recording, you want 3 heads. And the reason why is you could listen to the source, right? Or you could listen to the tape. So what does that mean? So if I'm recording something, let's pretend that if I was recording something off of streaming, for example, to hear, which I have done, and it works great. If I'm recording to this in order to set the levels, or even just listen to it and how it is recording, because when it goes to a tape or anything analog, it's not 100% representation. It's not digital, so you have to play with the levels or play with the EQ to get it, dialed in just right. So I can listen to the source, which is how it's coming in from streaming, for example, or I hit this button, right, and then that will say, okay, I want to hear what the tape is actually recording. Literally, there's 2 heads in here, a record, play, and play, for example, and it'll record it, and then as it's recording, it'll play literally a fraction of a second right after that it crosses the record head. It'll play it, and I could hear almost instantly what is being recorded right from whatever source I'm recording it from, and I could dial it in, and I could play with the lines. And if I was recording from microphone, for example, I could dial the levels in. I could turn it up or turn it down, because, and as you know, with the VU meters, you want it the highest level, like kissing the red or the 0 dB level without actually crossing over into it, or if it is, it's just barely crossing into it, because otherwise you're getting distortion, or you could be crossing in and putting distortion on your recording. The only other item here is like I said, a tape select. You can hit the EQ bias and then what kind of tape type it is. Regular Faro tape, or it would be that EE tape, which I believe is similar to the Type 2 Chrome tapes for regular cassettes. So that's about it. I wanted to just give you a quick highlight of how these work and its basic operation. What I'll do in the next video is basically go into more detail. I'll take this off and show you the heads underneath. I'll show you how to route you may actually physically have to take the tape and route it across the spools in the head and put it onto the reel itself, right? So I'll show you real quick so you can stop. Actually, what you can actually do, you don't even need to hit stop. Let's say if I want to fast forward, you just hit the button. It's made to do that. So for example, if I just hit play, right, normally you don't have to, when we're kids I always say hit stop and then hit play. Well, no, this you could just hit it, see, and it automatically do what it needs to do, break the reels, and there's internal felt brakes inside, and slow it down, and then give it a half a second to, I guess, detension or catch up to itself, and then actually play it. So that's pretty neat. I have a piece of music here. Oh, I went over on that. I don't know if you saw that on the VU meters. A little piece of music here. It's from a game that I adore. I am a gamer, so I do like playing. I like movies, I like music, obviously, and I like games. Any kind of media that has an emotional attachment to it. In this game, it definitely had emotional attachment to it. And hopefully the company won't copyright strike me. And if it does, too bad. I might have to re-record something else. But I like this piece of music here. It's not very long, and I'll play it right now. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe. Trying to make 1,000 members. Trying to monetize this channel. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. And thank you for watching.